good morning, and welcome to the call. Now, I have a treat for every single one of you. You already know it. That's why we have so many people jumping on right now. We have a young lady out of Fresno, California, who is a force to be reckoned with. Those of you that know her, you may know her as Natasha Ismail. You may know her as Tasha Q. You may know her as 3.0. She has multiple names. She's dominating all over the place in social media as well. So I want you to know that her and her husband were successful in their own right prior to ACN. You've heard Mr. Thomas and people talk about them flipping gas stations and liquor stores prior to getting involved with ACN. But what you may not know about Natasha herself is her love to help people. And that happened before ACN. Her love, the reason why she did what she did in her career, the fact that she fell in love with working with people, especially older people, and helping them and seeing their progress and feeling that was important to her, to the point where she got her bachelor's and her master's in kinesiology, exercise science as well. And all I can tell you is she brought that work ethic and that love to help people into this business. And so without any further ado, I want to introduce top producing regional director, Miss Natasha, AKA Tasha Q, AKA Teacups. It's time for you to come get it. Let's get it, girl.
Good morning. Oh my God. So he gave me so many AKAs, and I mean, he already knows, right? Anybody that follows me on Instagram, you guys already know it's like, I got my whole name, my real name, and then I have Tasha Q, I got Boss Lady, I got all these different names, but I can't tell you guys. So first of all, good morning. Second, I want to thank Mr. Thomas for the opportunity to be able to speak today. And third, let me tell you about Mr. Julian Lewis, okay? I heard his name before I even knew who he was. I knew about him before I even met him, okay? I was hearing stories and all of these people were like, oh my God, Julian's amazing. You got to meet him. He's in San Diego. He's one of the leaders out there, all this stuff. And I'm just like, who is this? I got to meet him. So the day that I met Mr. Julian Lewis was like, we had this instant connection. Me and my husband were just like, okay, he's going to be one of our friends for life. And I can't tell you guys, he's like my brother from another mother. Okay. You guys know, like, even you guys don't even know our conversation that we have, but it's like just mind blowing. And how he shows up for everyone inspires me to show up for everyone. Like, he's always there. Anytime I need something, I can call him and he will answer the phone. He'll give me honest opinions. We don't hold back with each other. So I want to thank you so much, Julian, for just being who you are and for that amazing introduction. Now, for those of you that don't know me, you guys already got, my name is Natasha Ismail. My name is Tasha Q, Boss Lady, all that stuff. Good morning. Hello. How are you? So I'm just someone who did what I was told to do. I was told, go to school, get a good education, find a good job so you don't have to struggle financially. And I did all that. I did both of my degrees, as you guys can see. They're my little trophies now. But I did all of that. I went to school. Tammy's laughing. I love your lipstick, by the way. So I did the school thing. I went to school. I got an education and I loved it. And the reason I kept continuing with school, number one, too, was because I really didn't know what else to do. Because school was literally my whole life. I had been going to school forever. How many of us can relate, right? We've been going to school forever. So when you automatically graduate and they're like, hey, well, you're on your way out to the real world. It's like, well, how do I write a check? How do I pay bills? How do I become an adult? I didn't learn any of that in school. And I can't tell you how empty I felt after. I just had this feeling in my stomach that there just had to be something else. There just had to be more meaning to my life than just training clients one-on-one in a studio. And if somebody doesn't show up, I'm sitting there for an hour until the next one comes in. And I was praying for something. And how many of us know that when you pray for something, what you prayed for doesn't always look like what you prayed for, right? It doesn't look like that. You get a different packaging, a big old present under the Christmas tree, and you open it and it's like a little thing inside, right? How many of us have done that? So when my friend showed me this business and this industry, it completely changed my life. And I thank God for that every single day. And I know some of you guys do too. Probably most of you guys, right? Right? Okay, so I'm going to start off with a story. I'm going to tell you guys a little story. It might be a short call today, but I'm really hoping, and I know that it's going to hit somebody. Somebody on this call is going to hear what I'm going to say. Somebody on this call needs to hear exactly what I'm going to say in exactly the way that I'm going to say it. And the people that are on this call, it's meant for you. There's a reason not everybody's on this call right now. There's a reason you're here. So listen up, Mr. Fetty Sherman, I know you're driving. My husband is driving also. Do not look at the screen. Just listen to my voice. Okay, Daryl Ransom, you could look, okay, because you pay attention, all right? So there was a man that asked his kid one day, he said, do you know how hunters used to trap monkeys? And the kid looks at him and goes, no. So the dad's like, well, instead of chasing them up a tree or shooting arrows at them, they would get this big, heavy glass jar, okay? And it had a narrow neck. And what they would do is put a banana inside the jar, okay? So I want you guys to picture this. So a big glass jar, and they'd put a banana inside of the jar. So after that, they would just step back. They would go hide in the bushes and stuff, and they'd wait for the monkey to come. And as soon as the monkey saw it, what would he do? He would reach inside, he would grab that banana, but he would grab it like this. Okay, now I want you to imagine narrow neck and he's holding a banana. Okay, what do you think is going to happen? He clenched his fist so hard around that banana. He tried to pull it out. He tried and tried and tried, but the narrow neck was stopping the monkey from getting his banana. So he tried for hours. They literally watched a monkey for hours, and he just couldn't get his hand out of the jar because he wasn't willing to let go of the banana or do something else. So rather than letting go, the monkey kept holding on and he refused to let go of it. So what the hunters did then is they approached him and they caught him, and he turned into the meal. Okay. So the dad says, don't be like that monkey. In life, to fight another day and grow as a person, you got to know when to stop. You got to know when to try another way. You got to know when to move on and let go of whatever's holding you back. So moral of the story that we're going to talk about, number one, is you have to know when to change your ways. If you're taking notes, Belinda Batiste, I see you. You're taking notes, write that down. You have to know when to change your ways. Number two, you got to let go of what's keeping you stuck. And I know a few of you, because I talked to you personally, and some people just feel stuck, and it happens, but you gotta know when to let go of what's keeping you stuck. So now I have a question for everyone. I want everyone to drop it in the chat, okay? Think about the monkey. How could he have avoided getting caught? What could he have done to get out of that situation he was in? Remember, he was holding a banana, couldn't get out of the jar. Fetty Sherman said he could have let go of the banana. I caught his sign language over there, okay? He could have let go of the banana. What else? Put it in the chat. There's one thing specifically that I'm looking for that he could have done to take that banana out. Change the hold of the banana. Kenny got it. So now I want everybody to imagine if I'm holding a banana and the jar is like this, okay? If I simply turn my hand, don't you think you can get the banana out? They got it in there, right? So it could have come out. Now, a lot of people are doing that same thing right now. A lot of people are doing things right now that aren't working. You're overcomplicating things. You're overthinking things. You're not believing in yourself. Break the glass. Okay, you could have broken the glass too. You could have done that. That would have been nice too, okay? But just think about it. If he would have turned the banana, he could have taken it out. But he stayed so long, and instead of having dinner, he became the dinner, right? So I want you to think right now, what is something that you're doing that if you just turned your hold onto the banana, you'd have it? What's that one thing that if you just did just a little tweak, just a little bit different, that it would be so much better? How many of us are trying to pull out the banana by holding it the wrong way? What's one thing? Put it in the chat. One thing really quick off the top of your head. Think about it right now. What's one thing that you're doing that if you tweaked it a little bit, it would be so much better? Is it your conversation? Is it when you're first trying to talk to somebody and make them your friend? Is it when you come to the point of, oh, are you, talking about wanting to make extra money or talking about anything like that? Feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Okay. What else? There's something right now that every single person is doing. Julian mentioned that we're already in the second week of November. Talking myself out of doing things. Alez, better posture. Dave, yes. Better posture, talking ourselves out of things. We often talk ourselves out of our own blessings. And I don't know who needs to hear that. I don't know who does that. But sometimes we're so scared that instead of talking ourselves into things as entrepreneurs that we should be doing, we talk ourselves out of it. We talk ourselves out of going for it. We talk ourselves out of our goals. I want everybody to think about their vision board. Everybody has a vision board. How in the world are you supposed to get anything on your vision board if you're talking yourself out of it? Elon Musk didn't talk himself out of it. Jeff Bezos didn't talk himself out of it. Andrew Carnegie didn't talk himself out of it. JP Morgan Chase didn't talk himself out of it. Warren Buffett didn't talk himself out of it. They had to talk themselves into it. As an entrepreneur, you're going to hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. Why do you think only 3% of the world is an entrepreneur? Because not everybody can handle the heat. There's heat, there's Cajun, there's cayenne, there's paprika, there's Fresno hot chili peppers, there's all these different ghost peppers and everything, but you have to understand when to pivot. You have to do something and then you have to review it. You have to say, okay, what could I have done differently? How many of us at the end of the day actually sit down and say, what did I actually do today? Tammy, okay. Thank you for being honest. Pat, okay. Latasha, right? Al Randolph. All right. All right. How many of us think about that? You have to sit at the end of the day. You have to go through and say, what exactly did I do today? You know what I do? What I learned from Mr. Thomas is when you have a conversation with somebody, I, in the beginning, was taking notes. When I was like, okay, I'm probably going to forget something, I would take notes. And then what I would do is I would go back and I would look at that conversation that I had with the person. And I would say, what could I have done differently? How could that conversation have gone differently? Well, what if I said this when I first talked to them? Instead of just going up to somebody, wham, bam, thank you, mamming them, just being like, hey, can you, do you want to get married? And they're like, I don't even know your name. A lot of us are trying to do things. We're trying to marry someone without even dating them. Like, I know arranged marriages are a thing, people, but come on. Okay, 2021. All right. And I know there's a lot going on online. I know there's a lot of things happening, but you have to know what works for you. You have to understand, put yourself in the other person's shoes. So say, you know what? If I was this person, what would make me talk to me? Right? If I asked you right now, honest question, because I ask myself this all the time, as a leader, would I follow myself? How many of you have asked yourself that? If you had to think right now, honestly, Sharon, honestly, Ms. Jones, honestly, Jonathan, Alez, Jason, if you really had to ask yourself, honestly, would you follow you? And if the answer is no, then you know what you need to start working on. If you would not follow yourself as a leader, you do not expect anybody else to follow you as a leader. The reason why so many people follow Mr. Thomas is because he's an amazing leader. He has that posture. He has that swag. He always smells good. Okay. Those of you that have met him in person, he's always so put together and you know it. Now you ask yourself, he taught me this trick. Okay. He was like, if anybody ever comes up to you and has a conversation, what's the first thing that happens? They basically can smell your breath. right? Now, the fact that we have Zoom, I'm being honest. I'm going to tell you guys a secret. So the fact that we have Zoom, nobody can really smell it, right? But in person, Mr. Thomas always had this little spray. And I'd always ask him, I'd be like, what is that? And it was a little Listerine breath spray. I have never, in my 3 years of knowing Mr. Thomas, ever seen him without it. Ever. And it's the little details. It's the little things that people do that are going to set you apart from everybody else. What is it that you're doing that's going to set you apart from everybody else? When somebody meets you, it should be an experience. People should not even have to introduce you. Like people should be talking about you and making people so excited to meet you. They should be edifying you to where when they meet you, it's an experience. When I met Mr. Thomas, after seeing him in magazines, and I met him at Starbucks, and I was about to pass out because I was like, oh my God, we're about to meet a senior vice president. We're going all the way to Vegas to meet him, all this stuff. We saw him in magazines and we heard so much about him. And when we met him, he came in to Starbucks with flip-flops, shorts, and a light pink Tommy Bahama shirt, but he had his Rolex on, okay? But when we met him, it was an experience. And I still to this day can recall the whole like 2 hours and 45 minutes that we were together, which was supposed to be like a 20-minute meeting. You want everything to be an experience. When you meet Mrs. Jocelyn Driscoll, it's an experience. You will never see anybody else with custom suits like her. You will not see anybody else as put together as her. You will not see anybody as graceful as her. When you meet Senior Vice President Byron Nelson, it's a freaking experience. You will never forget the day that you met that man. You will never forget it. It's an experience. What are you giving people? When people meet you, are they like, oh, I wish I never met them. I wish I never met them. They're so annoying. I wish I never met them. Or are you giving them an experience? What are you giving them? Make every single meeting an experience. My secret is I compliment people and I genuinely compliment them. If I love your hair like Tammy, I love her lipstick. I'm probably going to ask her what kind it is because I just ordered 4 red lipsticks and I have no idea why I did that, but I did. Christmas is coming up. That was my birthday present to myself and Christmas present. But when people meet you, what do you do different? When I compliment somebody, when you get complimented, how does it make you feel, first of all? You smile and you like, oh, stop it, right? Oh, stop it. Oh, stop it, Sharian, stop it. Imagine how you'll make other people feel when you compliment them. It doesn't cost you anything, right? It doesn't cost you anything. But are you doing that for people? Are you letting them know that you are an experience? This new season is going to require a new you. And if you want different, you have to move different. Every single new level is going to bring a new devil with it, but are you ready for that? And last week I said something, and I'm going to say this line, and if you can catch it, write it down. If not, you can watch the replay either on our YouTube channel or Instagram or something and find it, okay? In order to become, you must overcome. And when you overcome, you become. I'm going to say that one more time because that was really good. Okay, it goes really deep. Pat Robinson is like, whew, that's good. I know, girl, I know. Okay, in order to become, you must overcome. And when you overcome, you become. Everyone right now is overcoming something in this season. But the most important thing is, are you going to overcome it or are you going to stay there? No one can do this for you. No one can be an entrepreneur for you. No one can make your phone calls for you. No one can do your social media for you. No one can talk to people for you. No one can make you an experience for you. No one can compliment people for you. No one can do anything for you. You have to do it for yourself. What I did yesterday with my husband, because he had like half a day off, I was like, you know what? Let's go look at some new houses. I don't know why. I just love looking at new houses. You know why? Because it expands your vision. Okay. When I saw these houses, and I'll maybe send a couple pictures in our chat or something, but when I went to see these houses, no house was less than $1.6 million. Every single house was custom. The most beautiful houses I have ever seen. And they're only 20 minutes from where I live now. And I had never seen these houses. We were going through this neighborhood. It was all gated. It was these houses, and their lawns were so immaculate. These houses were so huge. They had beautiful stones everywhere. They had waterfalls outside. They had the glass door garages, and you see the Ferraris and Lamborghinis inside. These were beautiful houses. When was the last time you went and looked at what it is that you want in life? Because we don't know what's out there until we go see it. If you're living in an apartment right now and you don't want to stay there forever, go look at houses. Go look at houses. Don't limit yourself. There is so much out there. I'm talking about 20 minutes away and I didn't even know it existed, let alone traveling the world like Mr. Thomas. That's not even a question. You've been in doubt for way too long. You've been in fear for way too long. You've been in worry for way too long. You've been in anxiety for way too long. You've been in self-doubt for way too long. And it's time to step out of that today. We're already in the second week of November. You need to step out of your doubt. You need to step out of that fear. You need to step out of that worry. You need to step out of that anxiety. If the enemy comes to you, you say, no, 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 not today. Not today. When you wake up and your feet hit the ground, people need to be scared. People need to say, oh, snap, she's up. I almost said the other word. Okay. Oh, snap, she's up. All right. You need to keep your family in the front of your mind. You need to keep your goals in the front of your mind. You need to keep your vision in the front of your mind because nobody else can do it for you. Every single decision that you make, you need to ask yourself, is this getting me closer to my goal or away from it? And that is a secret that I learned from Mr. Thomas, and I just got the chills, so I know somebody needed that. I ask myself that every single day. We don't go out. We don't go party. We've gone out one time in the past 2 years because we're grinding, because we're working, because we understand if we do something today, we're not getting the result today. If you do something today, you're thinking about the future. You don't have a microwave mentality as an entrepreneur. You're long-term. Think about how much patience farmers have to have. No one knows your goals but you. No one knows what you want but you. No one knows your real situation but you. Nobody knows the truth. Nobody knows what you're going through. Nobody knows if you just cried in your room to sleep last night. Nobody knows what you prayed for last night. Nobody knows that feeling but you. And when it happens, when it actually comes true, that feeling of accomplishment, imagine seeing your mom smiling at you. Imagine seeing your dad smiling at you. Imagine seeing your husband or wife smiling at you after years or after months of doing this business. And they've always doubted you and they've always criticized it. And they've always said, why don't you just stop? When you make it, and when you look at someone and they're smiling at you and they say you did it, imagine that feeling. They're going to say, you did it, Belinda. You did it, Marie. Victoria, you done did it. Sharon, you did it. Lurleen, you did it. Sam, you did it. Daryl, you did it. Pat, you did it. Sharian, you did it. Fetty, you did it. Tammy, you done did it too. Nobody is going to come ask you, well, how long did it take? Ain't nobody care about that when you make it. When you drive in a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, ain't nobody asking you for your degree. I can assure you that. I never asked a man in a Ferrari, hey, do you have a master's degree? Hey, what your education level? I don't care how you make that money. Teach me, okay? And most importantly, when you'll be able to face yourself in the mirror and actually be proud of yourself instead of always criticizing yourself when you look into the mirror, you're going to finally say, I did it. Don't leave this earth being average. Don't leave this world not knowing your full potential. If I asked you right now, The person that you want to become, that you see in your head, that's so poised and so confident and so postured. What do you dress like? What do you talk like? What do you smell like? What kind of shoes do you wear? You should know exactly what I'm talking about. And my question to you is, are you that person right now? And if not, will you ever be?